Hi, my name is Ayesha Bedwei, and I'm an under 40 CEO.
The African Renaissance. The concept that the African people and nation shall overcome the current challenges confronting the continent and achieve cultural, scientific, and economic renewal is here, with young men and women taking the lead. Some call them the new school heroes. We call them under 40 CEOs.
Ayesha Bedwei is a partner in PwC based in Ghana. Ayesha specializes in tax advisory services focused on the energy sector and helps clients solve their tax problems and manage their tax affairs efficiently. In addition to this, Ayesha holds leadership positions within the PwC in the areas of corporate responsibility and diversity and inclusion, energy, and learning and education. With over 17 years experience in the finance and accounting field, 8 being in the tax energy arena, Ayesha has been involved in a wide array of projects and has built up a network of influential clients and associates during her professional career. All right, welcome to Under 40 CEOs, Ayesha.
Thank you.
Right. Ayesha, you said to some secondary school girls recently, don't allow anyone to kill your dreams. Now, firstly, what were your dreams growing up? And
how did you find out about that?
Oh, it's in public domain. Secondly, did anybody or anyone at some point try to kill it?
No, my major dreams growing up was to be an artist and to exhibit at the Louvre in Paris. Anybody killed my dreams? Not directly, but when I got to secondary school and realized I was a really bad artist and there were so many other people who were better at it than I did, my dreams were effectively killed. They died a natural death. But when I made that statement to those girls, they were girls at my old secondary school.
Okay.
And I made that statement because one of them actually asked me, she wanted to be a pilot, and her parents said no, we wanted to be something else, and she didn't know how to navigate that whole circumstance with her parents. So we had a dialogue about that, so that's how that came up.
Now, today you have over 17 years experience in finance and accounting. Please do share about your journey. I mean, at such a young age, 17 years.
Well, the journey hasn't been straightforward. I don't think any journey is. Like I said, I was very artistic in secondary school. I got exposed to economics in secondary school and loved it and realized that my gift was, more along those lines. Went to university, did economics in the UK. And fortunately, I had a career advisor who made me understand how I could become a professional accountant, the options that I could, pursue under that. That's kind of what led me to study accountancy in the UK. Started my career working in an accountancy firm in the UK, not PwC where I am, but another firm. And then worked in industry, which is basically other organizations as a group financial accountant. I decided to move back to Ghana about 13 years ago. Wanted to try something different. Did some lecturing at Ayesha University, which I'm sure you've heard of. It's one of our private universities. Yes. Fantastic experience. And then thought I wanted to go back into practice. Went to work at Ernst & Young, probably did that for 2 months, and found myself at PwC. And it's been almost 11 years since I joined PwC. It's been a great experience, yeah. So.
Amazing. Now, your background is in financial services, yet you were nominated as a finalist for the Villisca Brand Ambassador for Ghana. Finance, fashion. How did that happen?
So I was shocked by that nomination, to be honest with you, because I thought those kind of opportunities were for women or people who were actually doing things in the social arena. So, as far as I was concerned, I wasn't planting trees or saving children or, well, not directly anyway, because that award is not so much about fashion, but it's about the impact you have on society and how you can inspire people with your story, inspire other women and girls. And so that's how I got nominated. And I think my biggest lesson from that was that whatever it is that you're doing, people are always watching. People are drawing inspiration from what you do and who you are, from both your personal and professional stories. So that was a fantastic experience for me. And I'm not really somebody who is very much in the public eye. I'm very much behind the scenes, quite reserved. So that made me sort of force myself to learn how to be in front of the camera. And I approach it like I approach everything in life. It's a project, it's an assignment. And so I tackle it with the precision that I do with all my other assignments. So it was great, it was a good experience.
Okay, so I know you speak on topics revolving around leadership and career development. At the last speaking engagement you had, what was that topic that you took on?
Okay, the last one I had was actually for a program for girls called My Lead. So for African girls, it's kind of like a fellowship program where they apply and they're selected, and it was held in Ghana. And I was asked to speak to them about presentation skills and how to present themselves and speak to people in a public arena. So that was a great experience as well, because these are things I've actually learned in my career, okay, both formally and informally. So being able to cascade that down to these young people who will have an opportunity through what they do, because these girls are actually already playing big roles in their country. Some of them are politicians at the age of 22, assembly women, yeah, and so they're already high achievers. And so it was a great opportunity to kind of also share with them some of my learnings and my experience. So that was the last thing I did.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice. That's great. Now, you were named one of Ghana's 20 most influential business leaders under 40. That was in 2015. And you were also a finalist for Africa's most influential women in business and government in 2014. Now, what do these awards, accolades, and recognitions really mean to you?
To be honest, I was quite surprised by the first one that you mentioned. But I suppose, again, being a person of influence has got to do with the impact that you create for other people, right? It's what they see you as, how they can learn from you, the inspiration they draw from you, and the fact that they can look at you and say, if she can do this, so can I. So that's the meaning that I took from it, and that's the importance that I assigned to it. And the same goes for the women, being a finalist for the women in politics and government and business and so on. That actually came from South Africa, and I was nominated by somebody who they will not name. So I'll never know who nominated me because it's kept a secret. But once again, like I keep saying, you never know when somebody is watching you. So it's important that whatever you choose to do in your career, even if it's baking bread, bake bread to the best of your ability, because it can actually change somebody's life if you do it properly and do it with passion.
Now, the headline for an article you wrote recently caught my attention. It said, it was aptly captioned, "Where are Ghana's millionaires?"
Yeah, you read it.
Yes, I did. Now, you went on to talk about how Nigerians, South Africans, Tanzanians, Zimbabweans are on this sacred Forbes list, and Ghanaians haven't made it on this list.
Yes.
What, in your opinion, is the reason why Ghanaians haven't made this list?
I think it's got to do with secrecy. So I think that Ghanaians, well, maybe some people may disagree with me, but I think generally Ghanaians are not people who like to sort of show their wealth so much in the public eye. And so not that there are not any millionaires in Ghana or millionaires who are Ghanaian, but they may be reluctant to appear on these sort of lists. I think it's just got to do with our culture and our nature as a people. But I think a time is coming when we're going to break out of that. We have a generation of young people who are doing things, who are not afraid to profile themselves, not afraid to show their achievements. So I'm sure very soon we're going to get on those lists as well and give you guys a run for your money in Nigeria.
Okay, and a big amen to that. Now, I know that you're big on taxation. Do you think that local tax laws are favorable to indigenous businesses?
I think for the most part they are, but the issue has always been clarity and also making the systems work. So the administrative side of running the tax law or implementing the tax law always poses some difficulty. And I think for taxpayers, the big issue is clarity. If people know what they're supposed to do and the systems work, they will pay their taxes, they will file their returns. Any tax system has to be, or promote convenience, should be make it easy to comply. PwC assists the World Bank to do a study called Paying Taxes, where we rank countries on the ease of paying taxes. Ghana is not ranking very well on that list. We used to be 87th in the world out of 182 countries. We're slipping down slowly. And it measures things like how many hours it takes you to file a return, how many hours it takes you to make a payment. If these things are administratively dealt with, it will make payments of these taxes and managing taxes in general easier for the general public.
So in your write-up, is everyone in the room?
Yes.
You mentioned that diversity is not all about race. Please do tell me more.
Okay. Diversity is not all about race, and neither is it all about gender. I feel as though when we talk about diversity, everybody's looking at the number of women who occupy high-level positions, how many women parliamentarians that there are. Or if you go to places like South Africa, it's all about Black economic empowerment indices and how many people are filling in the gaps and so on. Or in America, it's all about race as well. But there are other parts of diversity. If you have an organization where you have a lot of young mothers, what are you doing to make sure that they remain loyal to your organization? Small changes such as having a daycare in the organization would help. Okay? Keep them less distracted, make them more willing to work long hours, and keep them loyal to the organization. Or if you have an organization where you have 2 or 3 disabled people. What are you doing to make the place more accessible for them? Okay, or even let's take it to faith. Around Ramadan time, if you have Muslim employees, do you ask yourself where they go and pray? Do they have to walk a long time to find a mosque? Maybe it's worth having a multi-faith prayer room in your office so that you can go there and pray. And so can the other religion. So diversity is about making everybody feel included in the organization, so that they are part of it. It's actually good for the bottom line. It promotes loyalty, and it makes a more harmonious workplace. And so that is what I was kind of talking about there.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
Ayesha regularly contributes to articles in Ghana's business print media and appears on television programs discussing various issues including tax and diversity and inclusion. She's also well-traveled.
Okay, so Ayesha, I see you love to travel. How is travel and interacting with different cultures and people added value to your person?
Okay. I can't talk about travel without talking about my childhood. So travel started with my childhood. So my father was a UNDP consultant, and he was into housing reconstruction. So guess where we went to? Countries that had suffered hurricanes. Wow. So therefore that meant we lived in the Caribbean islands.
Wow.
So from the age of about 3 or 4, I lived in Dominica, I lived in Grenada, and we traveled a lot in the Caribbean. Then we also lived in the Comoros Islands as well in the Indian Ocean. So that was effectively my childhood. And I moved to Ghana after going to 5 different primary schools. I came to secondary school in Ghana. So I didn't actually like traveling because I had to keep making new friends and so on and so forth. But I think it has made me a very open person, very tolerant of people, accepting of people, open to different cultures, ready to try new things. It's ironic that in what I do now, I do get the opportunity to travel quite a lot. And so I make good use of those opportunities, add on a few days of holiday, travel with friends and family where possible. You know, the world is made up of different people. And I have this theory that eventually we're all going to be related. Because there's a lot of intermarrying, there's a lot of, people who, if you trace their ancestry, they have different racial makeups and so on. And so the more we experience each other, the more we are more accepting, the better it is for all of us. And you can only get that through travel.
Okay. There's this thing I call the CEO journey. Now, while on the CEO journey, what are those challenges that you've had to overcome to make the strides that you've made so far?
I would say a major challenge was starting my career in PwC and having a young child at the time, and also just adapting and having to learn a new work culture and so on. It was very rewarding, but it was quite challenging at the start. Another aspect of it was dealing with different kinds of people and different sort of politics, not just in the workplace, but also dealing with other kinds of people in places that don't work, for example, government bodies, government agencies, and just the way their work styles impact my work styles, usually not for the best reasons. Slower and, so just learning to manage all sorts of characters and people, that's been a challenge as well. But apart from that, I would say it's been a good journey, one that has involved lots of sacrifice, but, nothing comes easy. And I think it's not a cliche, you can't achieve anything without hard work and dedication. You will have to make some sacrifices, you have to give up some sleep, you will have to do some things you don't want to do, all in the name of, pursuing your passion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think are those key skill sets that a CEO needs to acquire in managing people?
I would say my journey as a parent has positively influenced me and helped me deal with all kinds of people. When bringing up a child, you need to be patient, you need to be tolerant, you need to repeat yourself over and over again, you need to caution people when necessary, you need to sort of bring them up and coach them. These are all things you need to do. You need to be patient. Nothing happens overnight, and not everybody can morph into you automatically. If you want to raise good people that you're working with, you have to invest in them. That, for me, is an exact mirror of being a parent. It's the same principles.
Wow.
So that has helped. That actually made it very easy for me.
That's a first. Really? So tell me, what's your leadership style? Parent, child, parenting?
It's more coaching.
Okay.
It's a lot of coaching. That's my leadership style. I'm open, coach, and I also allow people to develop their own ideas. I don't want a replica of myself. Diversity brings diversity of thought and ideas. So I want to be able to learn from other people as well and teach them the good things that I have learned and also learn from them too.
That's your leadership style. But I'm sure that as a leader, you've possibly failed, like we've all failed at some point or the other. Do you want to just tell me about some of your failures as a leader?
I think any failures have more got to do with being a judge of character, right? I think I'm a very good judge of character, but I think I was not politically savvy, right, early on in my career.
Okay.
And it takes learning. You need to be in an organization to understand that there needs to be a certain level of diplomacy in the way you conduct yourself and say certain things, okay? So that's something I've learned over the years. I've had good mentors. I've observed my environment. I've learned the character of the people that I work with, and just being able to be emotionally intelligent. It's something that I think is innate in all of us, but it needs development. So where I've failed, it's because I was not fully aware of these things, and I could have prevented certain situations happening if I had read the people better or dealt with a situation in a more politically correct manner.
Okay.
But thankfully, that's all behind me now.
All right, beautiful. So what was that last scenario where you had to deploy this political correctness?
Recently, I had to deal with the tax authorities regarding, and we have a new tax law in Ghana, and just some issues to do with implementation and the way it would affect our clients. And I had to go meet with one of the, the big senior people at the tax authorities, along with a client of mine, and just manage the whole meeting and relationship. The client was a foreigner, so just, allow him to speak, but sort of guide the direction of the conversation while also knowing the person I'm dealing with on the other side, the government side, and managing the way he communicates as well. So it's almost like you are a mediator, right? And I find that happens a lot in what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how important is delegation to you?
It's really important because if you're coaching people or teaching them how to, to grow themselves professionally, you need to delegate. I always say that you cannot do everything yourself, right? And if you want to be able to be free to strategically grow your business and develop yourself even more professionally, you have to delegate. There has to be a certain level of trust that you accord the people you work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what values are important to you and your firm?
Start with me. Honesty is really, really, really important to me. It is something that I live by. It's something that I wish more people would, exhibit. It's important because I really do believe the truth does set you free. My firm, we have 3 values that we currently eschew, and those are teamwork, leadership, and excellence. And those are the values that we live by. Okay? And also, closely connected to what I said about honesty is ethics. If you're honest, you live an ethical life. You do the right things at the right time, and you don't cover up things. I cannot stand cover-ups. I know they happen, but I can't stand them. It's a pet peeve of mine.
Okay. So tell me, what's the biggest letdown that you've experienced so far in your career?
I don't really think I've had any significant letdowns that I can even remember. I'm sure I've had some, but I don't think there's anything significant. So sorry.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
Ayesha leads by coaching. She values honesty and has learned key lessons in patience from raising her daughter. How does she unwind and enjoy the fruits of her labor? I must find out.
So I have a few quick fire questions for you.
Okay.
What do you love to eat?
Fish.
What's your style?
Classic.
What are your favorite brands to wear?
Dwaba Sewa, Ghanaian.
What are the CEOs you currently look up to?
I look up to Oprah Winfrey a lot. I like what Tony Elumelu is doing with the TEEP program. I think he's actually helping other entrepreneurs. I also look up to Fred Swanica from the African Leadership Group.
What's your favorite car to drive?
Mercedes-Benz.
Your favorite travel destination?
Mauritius.
What's your favorite book of all time?
Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden.
And what book are you reading right now?
Hard Choices by Hillary Clinton.
Now, lastly, I'd like to know, Ayesha, what makes you happy?
It's a really simple answer. When all the people I love are happy.
So thank you for coming on Under 40 CEOs, Ayesha.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you. I am Ayesha Bedwei, and you can be an Under 40 CEO.